I'm Sandy. Welcome to my kitchen today, and we are going to play with seeds. One of my favorite things. Hi, I'm Sandy. Welcome to my kitchen today, and we are going to be talking about seeds, really playing with seeds. I don't know if you are a big fan of them as much as I am, but I love playing around with them in new ways that are kind of out of the box. Chia seeds especially, we know they're kind of mainstream. People love chia seeds for the health benefits. They're high in fiber, good source of protein, have some antioxidants in there, and people love to put them in water. They love to put them in their yogurt, smoothies, whatever. Well, today we're going to play with them and add them to our brittle. So I'm making a little bit of something sweet and sassy here with a chia seed brittle, a honey chia seed brittle to be factual, and I'm going to kind of counteract that with some cardamom, which is one of my favorite spices, and a little bit of salt, which I like the combination of like the salt and the sweet, and then you get the benefits of the chia seeds. Before we get started, I have a pot heating on the stove, which we're going to make our brittle, meaning like the dark sugary deliciousness, and then in my oven I have my chia seeds actually toasting. I like to toast them just a little bit. You don't want to overdo it because you can burn them very quickly. So they're toasting in a 350-degree oven. There's 3/4 of a cup of chia seeds in there. You can play with this recipe. You don't have to use all chia seeds. You can add some sesame seeds in here, pumpkin seeds, literally whatever I have in the pantry I'll use in this recipe. So I'm just going to check on my chia seeds before we get started, just to make sure that I'm not burning them, and give them a little toast, or a toss. All right, so they're coming along nicely here. And then I'm gonna start the brittle part of it. And if you've never made brittle, you wanna have a candy thermometer. If not, my mom had taught me that you can literally take a glass of ice water and then drop a little bit of the mixture in there, and it's called softball stage. So you can go all the way up to your softball here, and that's when you drop it in the water, it's going to create a little softball. Or hard crack or hard ball is kind of where we want to be today, and that's where we're going to aim for, so that way when you're cooking it, it's going to be cracked, meaning when you smash it on the counter, it's going to create that brittle. That's what we're looking for. All right, so I have that in here. I'm going to add to this my honey. I have 3/4 of a cup of honey in here. And then I'm adding 2 tablespoons of butter and a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar. You'll notice that I'm not adding my vanilla, my salt, or my cardamom, because I don't want those flavors to dissipate or become too intense. And then all I'm going to do here, I have this on like medium-high heat. I'm just going to stir it a little bit to get those contents rolling. And then all you're going to do is you're going to let this cook until you hit 225, and then we're going to remove it from the heat. Our seeds will be done, and we're going to add in our chia seeds, stir it up, and then put it onto our silicone baking mat. So we're going to let this cook for a little bit. I'm going to keep an eye on my seeds here. I put them in an oven-safe pan, by the way, and then they're starting to kind of get brown. I can see it in here. They're just about done, and I'm going to give it another minute or two. And this is starting to cook down here. And you don't have to use honey. I've used brown sugar in this. I've used maple syrup because I like the maple flavor. I've also used just straight granulated sugar. Literally whatever you're in the mood for, play around with it and the different flavor profiles. So, and you can kind of change it up for you. If you want to make this vegan, you don't have to use butter or honey. Again, you can use a granulated sugar or a coconut sugar. And then you can use a coconut oil or anything like that. Anything that's saturated fat though, you want it to be hard at room temperature. That's just gonna help the brittle out. So that's kind of what we're looking for here. Beautiful. So we're already up to almost 225. So see how quickly that happens? And then you just don't want to walk away from this. That's the thing. Please don't walk away. You'll have burnt sugar in an instant. All right, my chia seeds should be just about done here. Oh yeah, and you can smell them. Oh my gosh, they smell so good. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to let them cool on the counter here until we need to add them to our sugar. I'm going to leave this on there just so I remember that it's hot. You don't want to grab a hot pan at the end of the day. All right, this is starting to boil up. 275 is the magic number. That's our hard crack stage. Ugh, cardamom is one of my favorites. Some people love it, some people hate it. I happen to love it. I just sprinkle it right on top of my vanilla ice cream. It's very fragrant. If you don't want to use your cardamom, you don't have to, leave it out. I'll add a little chili powder in here as well if I want a little bit of spice to it. But again, play around with it. Make it yours. It's your Brittle. And this is my favorite too because you can package it up and ship it. So if you're sending it to a loved one in a care package, that's the best way to go too. I think I'll send it to my mom for Mother's Day. I haven't decided yet, but we'll see. All right. We are almost there. And I have my silicone baking mat. You can use parchment paper, anything that's non-stick. You can also spray this with non-stick cooking spray too, anything that's going to prevent it from sticking, because essentially you don't want that beautiful brittle to stick to anything at the end of the day. So using my silicone baking mat, so that way I can easily put it on here once it's done. I just love the smell of honey and butter. I don't know what it is. It's so good. Like melted butter and honey on a piece of toast. With a little bit of sea salt on top. Oh. You can see it's starting to come together. Almost there. All right, I'm gonna remove my wooden spoon at this point and switch to a spatula. I just like it the way a spatula, I can fold it in a little bit easier. Again, use what you're comfortable with. It's like that last little push, just wanna go over the edge here. Okay, so we've reached the hard crack stage, so now we're ready to add in the rest of our ingredients. You have to work quickly here because it's gonna start to harden really fast and it's super hot, and we wanna make sure it's spread out before we're done. So I'm gonna remove my candy thermometer here. I'm turning off the heat. I'm gonna add in my chia seeds. Beautiful. Stirring those in here. And that completely cooled the mixture down, which is good. Now I'm going to add a little bit of my homemade vanilla. If you don't have homemade vanilla extract, it's totally fine. If I can, maybe I can't get it open. There we go. Okay. Not as strong as I thought I was. Okay. Add a little bit of our vanilla extract into here. It's gonna bubble up, don't be afraid of it. Oh, it smells so good. Okay. Perfect. And now I'm gonna add a little bit of my sprinkle of cardamom into here. About 1/8 of a teaspoon. You don't wanna add too much, it's gonna overpower it. Oh, the vanilla and the cardamom are so good. And you can see here it's starting to kind of caramelize. Look at that, beautiful. All right, so now I'm gonna add it to my baking. I'm gonna put it into my baking sheet here. move this over so you can see it. All right, so now I'm going to pour it onto my silicone baking mat into a nice thin layer. Scraping all the goodness out of here. Look at how pretty that is. I can't get over it. It's, oh, looks so good. Beautiful. Who wouldn't want this? You know you're gonna eat chia seeds after this. All right, so I'm just gonna spread it out so it's a little bit thinner. I don't want it to be super thick, right? You don't want too many chia seeds. So spread it into about 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch thick, and that's about it. And then we're gonna let this cool completely. And I'm gonna sprinkle some sea salt on here in a second. I just wanna make sure it's as thin as I want it. Because it's already starting to harden up here. All right, I think that's pretty good. Perfect. All right, so now I'm gonna sprinkle, actually I wanna use the sea salt. I wanna use, I'm a sea salt collector, sorry. Okay, I have this like thick, crunchy sea salt I got from Cape Cod when we were there. I collect sea salt when I go on trips. Sea salt, maple syrup, and what's the other one I collected? Oh, like different types of sugar and stuff. I have a problem. All right, so I'm sprinkling just a little bit of sea salt on top. Again, I love the balance of the sweetness and the saltiness. So good. Just a little bit. Awesome, and that's it. Now you're just gonna let this cool completely again. And then when it's cool, we're gonna come back and we're going to smash it on the countertop, which is like my favorite thing to do. It's get your aggressions out. And that way we'll be able to crack it and then you'll be able to enjoy your beautiful, delicious brittle. But how good does that look, right? How proud are you of yourself? Perfect, all right. We're gonna let that cool and we'll be back. So our seed brittle has hardened and is ready to break up into pieces. And I'm so excited to eat this actually. I know, who said they'd be excited about chia seeds? Anyway, I'm excited to eat this. So here we go. I'm just kind of peel it off my, see, no stick. You should get a soap pat. All right, and then I'm just gonna kind of toss it down and break it into pieces. And that's all she wrote. And it's a beautiful thing. And that cardamom in there, I can smell the cardamom and the sea salt on top. So good. And you can see, you can break it into whatever size piece you want. I like to do about that size. But again, no rhyme or reason. However it breaks, it breaks. And then you can package it up or you can just put it in an airtight container and eat it yourself. But I like to package it up and give it to people as gifts with a nice little tag on it. And how easy was it to make? Just remember, play around with your sugar, play around with your flavorings. You can make it vegan as well, totally up to you. A little bit of salt on there makes the difference. But either way, hopefully it changes your way and your perspective on seeds. Enjoy.